Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Gilded Cloud, a brand new podcast about living well with chronic and long term health conditions. My name is Simone, and I am your host. So, as this is the first episode, I thought it'd be a good idea just to introduce myself and tell you a bit about me. I am a very proud South East Londoner, born and raised, still live here now. I love TV, I love films, I love audiobooks, crime dramas, thrillers, action, comedy, all those genres. Can't get enough of them. I have a massive family and amazing friends, and I wouldn't swap any of them for the world. I'm also very passionate about volunteering. I have both been a volunteer and worked in volunteering for over 20 years now, and I find it incredibly rewarding and recommend it to anyone. And I'm also cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about crafting. I love working with resin and jesmonite and paper crafting and working with polymer clay and glitters and gilding flakes. And if you keep still long enough, I will gild you so I can keep it moving for, your own safety. Saying all that, I am rubbish in the mornings. I hate mornings with a passion, so you wake me up at your own risk. I've also been told that I'm very sarcastic. I don't know where people get that from, but apparently that's true. And I'd also say that I don't suffer fools gladly. We have free education in this country, so you've got no excuse for stupidity. So I really do think stupid people should just be dropped from a great height into the Amazon and let the animals sort them out, because I don't have the time or the energy for it. Saying that, I love to laugh. I love making people laugh. I love to see people laugh. And I am a pretty happy and positive person, and people comment on that quite regularly. I'm not a psychopath. I do have bad days as well, but on the whole, in general, I'm very happy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with me as a person or who I am. With that in mind, in 2014, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. For those of you who don't know, that is a degenerative, incurable neurological condition. So that sucks. By 2016, I was also diagnosed in late 2016 with multiple myeloma, which is a incurable or terminal bone marrow cancer. And then just a few weeks later, it was confirmed that I have myelodysplastic syndrome, also known as myelodysplasia, also known as MDS, which is a blood cancer. So none of that is great. So after the double cancer diagnosis, I spent the next 5 odd years in chemotherapy. I didn't even know you could have chemo for that long, and it turns out I really didn't understand very much about chemo at all. So I had 4 different types of chemotherapy. I was also having to have fortnightly blood transfusions because I become blood transfusion dependent. So every 2 weeks, sometimes more frequently, I have to go to the hospital and have 2 units of blood just to keep me alive. I also had to have regular injections to keep my immune system up, because all 3 conditions greatly impact my immune system. So my immune system was shot to pieces. Because of that, I kept catching frequent infections, really serious infections, which would lead to me needing to be hospitalised, quite often as an emergency intake by ambulance. So I had sepsis so many times I have completely lost count. I had an E. coli infection on one occasion, and on a few occasions I had proper flu. I'm talking flu where you can't lift your own head, where you've lost complete control of your bowels and your bladder, and you can't do anything. You can barely feed yourself. A lot more than just needing a couple of lemon sips in a couple of days in bed. So that wasn't great, but you learn tips and hints and tricks to get through it. And I've had a lot of support, like I said, from family and friends, and that's made a massive difference. So with all that, how I've managed to stay so positive? For me, it's quite simple, because I was the same person the day before diagnosis as I was the day after diagnosis. Had a bit of personal growth, but I'm still pretty much the same person now. And I bet if you ask me in 10 years' time, at its core, I'll still be the same person then. I still have all of my hobbies and interests and support from friends and family that have helped me get through. And I've learned a lot of useful tips and hints over the years and met some fantastic people who are experts in all of this, and they've helped me to get through. So my hope with this podcast is that I can make your journey a bit easier, help you avoid some of the pitfalls. And if you're watching this because you want to help someone that you care about, hopefully I can give you some tips and hints on how to do that as well. So we're now in October 2025, and I've had a 3-year treatment break from the chemotherapy after it plateaued and stopped working anymore. Yet in February this year, so February 2025, a few months ago, I started a brand new treatment called elranatamab. Very hard to say that, so I'm very pleased that I said it correctly the first time round. Now, that only got approved for use in England in June 2024, and we found out the criteria for myeloma patients to have it in October 2024, so just a few months before I got started. And don't get me wrong, it was tough. Starting this treatment was the toughest one yet. On starting, I ended up getting another massive infection, so I got a staph infection. So instead of spending 2 or 3 nights in hospital, I spent 2 weeks in hospital, and I really did feel like I was at death's door. But the treatment did start working incredibly quickly. It did also trigger an MS attack, but it also started working under myeloma very quickly. So I was dealing with a staph infection, I had an MS attack, I was stuck in hospital for longer, but it was doing the job. So within a few months, I no longer needed blood transfusions. I now haven't had a blood transfusion since March this year. By May this year, I no longer needed to use my mobility scooter. Now, I was using that scooter for about 5 years in total, and I haven't had to get on it. It's just been parked up in my passageway since May. And like I said, we're now in October, so that is amazing. I'm not going to be running any marathons anytime soon, so, don't get that into your head, and benefits people can get lost right now because, like I said, not running any marathons, but at least I can get to my local bus stop now. I can get to my local corner shop. I can get on the train without having to worry about ramps or stairs or whether lifts are working. So it's made it much easier for me to get around, which means there's a lot more I can do or participate in, places that I can go, people that I can visit, and that's fantastic news and just makes me feel so much better. But the best news is yet to come. The best news is the reason why I have re-recorded this episode today, because earlier this week I had an appointment with my consultant who let me know the fantastic news that my myeloma is in full remission for the first time. After almost 9 years to the day, I am in full remission for my bone marrow cancer, and I couldn't be happier. I have been bouncing off the walls all day, and for once it's not because I've had an energy drink either. So that's fantastic news. So what does all this mean for this podcast? Well, if you haven't realised by now, I have a lot to say for myself. I could talk for Britain. If it was an Olympic sport, I'd be in the running to get the gold. So instead of just talking away like I normally do, I'm going to talk to you guys and share all this information. I really do want to try and make living with a long-term chronic health condition much easier than it is for as many people as possible. So we're going to talk about all the things I've talked about in this episode in detail. We're going to talk about all the different conditions, or lots of the different conditions. I will be interviewing the specialists because I am not a specialist. I am not a medical expert. I have no medical training. So we're going to bring in the people that do, and they can explain these things to you. We're going to talk about what it's like to have some of these procedures that seem really scary, like blood transfusions, and see how scary are they really in reality. We're going to talk about a bunch of the stuff that can help you with day-to-day life when you have a chronic health condition, because there's a lot out there that people aren't aware of. Really simple hacks, as they like to say these days. So I'm going to share all of that with you and more. And all I ask from you is to like, subscribe and share these videos. So, on that note, I'm going to sign off for the night because otherwise I will just keep talking and talking and talking. And I look forward to speaking to you all again very soon. Thank you for watching.